All right, welcome back to the next episode in the Facebook Groups course. In this episode, we're going to be talking all about content, because if you're the social media manager for your church, ultimately you're asking, what do we do about a content strategy for our Facebook group? So this episode is going to be broken into three main sections. Number one is just the overarching questions you need to ask when it comes to content with any marketing and communication channel. Number two is going to be the difference between the content you put on your page and the content that you put in your group. And then the third section is going to be about a simple framework I'm going to give you that's going to make your life and your content strategy very easy to determine and implement. So, section number one, three main questions I want you to ask when you're thinking about any content strategy for your marketing and communications. Number one is, who is our target? Who is our target? So in this case, we could say, hey, our target are people who call our church home or are in this area and are on a journey of becoming a part of our church. Whatever it is, whatever group that you're thinking about, you need to start with, who is your target? Is it young moms? Is it young professionals? Is it guys? Is it people in your community, mothers of preschoolers? Who is your target? Simply write that out and answer that question. Then next question is, what is your target audience's objective? So what are they trying to achieve? Is it, hey, they want to get parenting tips. They want to get better as a guy, or they want to improve their marriage, or they want to get connected as a community to be known and to get to know others and to go on a journey with a community like at your church? So what is their objective? And then question number three, what is your objective? Okay. If you answer those three questions with any content strategy, it's going to help you immensely as you're getting started. Now, the next section is this. Okay, well then what's the difference between the content we put in our page and in our Facebook group or groups? And here's where I want you to really start thinking about them a little bit differently. I want you to start thinking about your Facebook page as your public facing communication, really communication to your community and to the church as a whole. So here are the things that are going to go on your page. Anything that deals with your community, conversation, relationship building with your community, connection with your community, getting to meet people in your community, getting to start and go on a journey with other nonprofits and organizations in your community. That's all happening on your page. If it deals with your entire church, that's happening on your page. If it's a Facebook ad, another important reason why you're going to keep your page. If it deals with the core values of your church, so the things that you say are very important, that goes on your page. Now, that's what I would recommend. Now, here's where the feedback and the pushback, quite frankly, comes, is that, man, everybody wants an announcement on our page because they think it's going to be the magic bullet to getting their event huge or the whole church to know about it. And here's what I would call the algorithm dilemma in this, is because let's say you have 1,000 people that follow and like your church's page. Now, if you have a event coming up, a Friday morning men's breakfast or a women's event that deals with, really, there's about 10 to 20 ladies that attend that on a regular basis, and they want that on the page. So you have 1,000 people. Now you have an event that deals with, let's say, 20 people. Well, when you post about that on your page, here's what the algorithm essentially makes the determination, is that really for 980 people, your content didn't resonate, wasn't relevant, they didn't respond to it because it wasn't for them. Therefore, the next time you post, let's say you're posting about Christmas or Easter, something that deals with the entire church, guess what? The 980 people that didn't really respond to your last post, they don't even see the post that deals with the entire church, something that's big, something that the entire church is doing. That is the algorithm dilemma for a church. Therefore, that creates a problem. It's like, hey, if you start posting all these niche content, you're going to end up shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to get negative momentum on your page. And really, a lot of people aren't going to start seeing updates from the page. So it really doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the church, doesn't help the ministry, doesn't help events to really do that. So that's why I really recommend your page is for your broader audience, major things going on, community facing, developing new relationships with people in your community, get to know them, and any of your major core value pieces that is happening, that goes on your page, as well as your paid advertising strategy. Now, here's where I recommend you put those things that we talked about that don't go great on the page. That's what we're going to do inside the group. So the group, remember, is going to be internal communication, that community building. It's an ongoing conversation. It's a many-to-many, so not just a megaphone. It's, hey, we're going to have everybody helping generate content and updates and conversations. So all of that is happening, more that internal conversation and communication is happening inside the group. And this is where, once you understand that, what you're trying to accomplish, why they're in there, what they're trying to accomplish, and what those communication channels are for, you start thinking, okay, here's what could go in the group. Updates and conversations about ministries, events, sharing stories, updates from missionaries, prayer requests, praise reports, devotionals, worship, watch parties, and the list could go on and on and on. That type of internal community building is perfect for happening inside your group. And this is where also I'm going to recommend you raise up leaders and you give and empower people in your church to go and to develop some of those conversations. So it's not all being choked kind of out. You're really empowering other people to have those conversations, and you're allowing the many-to-many thing that can really thrive inside a group to happen. So that's the difference between content on your page and content inside your group. Now, this third section is really important because the worst thing that can happen for a church social media manager is you wake up and you're like twiddling your thumbs. Oh man, what are we going to post on our page today? Oh, let's go look at this church and that church. Let's pray we come across something that we can like steal and post on our page. Time out. That should not be happening at all. That's not the route you want to go when it comes to a content strategy. Let me give you a simple framework instead, and it's what I call the seasons and series framework, okay? Seasons and series framework. Your job as a social media manager is not to create your own unique content and conversation. Your job is to figure out, as a church, what season are we in the life of the church? Are we trying to elevate the generosity of the church? Are we trying to get people in the small groups? Are we trying to get people to go deeper in worship? Are we trying to get people more connected in community? Are we trying to get people more into missions and going? What season are you in the church? And that should hopefully be driven kind of by the leadership of the church. I know every church is different, but if you can identify, okay, what season are we in? What is the vision? What is the mission? What are we trying to accomplish in this season? Or what series are we in? So are you doing a series on worship or generosity or outreach or worship, whatever it is? What season or what series are you in, and what are you trying to accomplish in that season or in that series? And here's where your content comes in, because your goal is not to go do random things and find random memes about coffee or the Bible or whatever it is to try to manufacture fake engagement and conversation around topics that don't really achieve the objectives of your church. What instead I want to say is, what are you trying to accomplish during the season? What are you trying to accomplish during the series? And then how are you going to leverage your Facebook page or your Facebook group to do just that? So what are you trying to accomplish in this season? What are you trying to accomplish in this series? How are you going to leverage your page and your group and any other marketing communication channel you have to help accomplish that? So it's not a random, what are we doing on social? No, it's what are we doing as a church? And social just fits right into there. So you see, when you come to planning a season or a series, part of that conversation needs to be, okay, yes, we're going to be talking about worship during this series. We want people, the objective is we want people to go deeper in their worship. And we want people to understand that worship isn't something that just happens on a weekend. It happens every day in their life. Okay? Then the next question is, how are we going to use our page and our group to carry on that objective in that conversation? Well, it could be really simple. Well, what if on our page we did midweek worship or inside our group, and we allow developing worship leaders to go live midweek on Wednesday and share a little devotional and then do a couple songs just with a guitar or on a piano and encourage the church to say, hey, as we're going through this series on worship, we've been learning that it's throughout the entire week. So we're live here midweek just to encourage you to be worshiping God with everything within you. Or let's say, hey, we're going to do this worship series. Let's do a devotional. So on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we're going to have developing leaders in the church go live or create a video and share a devotional about worship and what it means to them and what their takeaway was from the message on the week. So you get that? It's not random. It's what are we trying to accomplish during this season or this series? And then your group and your page is essentially a tool to carry on that conversation. Because here's what I know. Leadership in church is always saying, yes, it's great that people are here on a weekend, but how do we get them thinking about the message and applying the message every single day of the week? It's a perfect opportunity for your group to be able to carry on that conversation, develop up leaders, and have this many-to-many ironing, sharpening iron conversation going on, praying and praise reports, and all of this great content around what you're already trying to accomplish during a series or a season. You're trying to get people into small groups. Well, what if we leveraged our group and we went live every single week at a different small group? And so now we've got our phone out and you're at the Wakefield small group and you're seeing us grill hamburgers and chicken and people are throwing around a football and we're having fun and we're talking about what we're going to do at the Wakefield small group, and you're seeing people in it. You're like, man, I didn't know small groups were fun. I didn't know they had food and nachos and they talk about the Bible. Like, that looks like a blast. So during this season of small groups, how are you going to leverage your page? How are you going to leverage your group? Season, series, what's the objective? And then how do you bring your page and your group to help accomplish that objective? So that's as simple as I can make it. Those are 3 main things you need to do when determining your content. 1, ask those 3 questions. 2, you need to determine how your page and your groups are different. And then number 3, think about the series and seasons framework, and hopefully it'll make your content strategy really simple and really effective. All right, God bless. We'll see you in the next episode.